Good afternoon, and welcome to True Crime Mysteries. If you're new to the channel, hello and welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. As always, if you could give this video a like and comment with your thoughts down below, that would be much appreciated as it helps the channel to grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and click that red button because I make more content like this, and hit the little bell icon so you get notified when I post. Today, we are discussing 3 cold cases that were solved by amateur sleuths. Let's get into it. 19-year-old Samantha Jean Hopper was last seen on September 11, 1988 in Pope County, Arkansas. That night, the 8th-month pregnant expecting mother had plans to meet up with a friend and go to a concert in Little Rock, Arkansas. She had dropped off her oldest daughter, Desiree, at her mother's house beforehand, and was on her way to drop off her other daughter, 22-month-old Courtney Holt, with Courtney's father, before heading to the concert. It was around mid-afternoon when Samantha said goodbye to her mom and oldest daughter. Samantha drove off in her blue Ford Tempo, and neither she nor Courtney were seen again. She never made it to Courtney's father's house, nor to meet her friend. The car had been new to Samantha. She'd saved up from her job as a server at the breakfast chain Waffle House. The car was so new she had yet to put her proper insurance plates on the vehicle. Samantha and her daughter were both reported missing, but there was no trace of where she or her daughter had went. Courtney's father had initially been a suspect, but he was quickly cleared of any involvement in the disappearances. Despite an extensive investigation, the case went cold. But Desiree Carpenter, Samantha's surviving daughter, never gave up. She spent years searching for her mother and sister before reaching out to the non-profit group Adventures with Purpose, a team of expert divers who travel across the United States to help solve cold cases. Their team has solved nearly 24 cold cases. In October of 2021, the Adventures with Purpose team began their search for Samantha and Courtney. According to lead diver Doug Bishop, the team took the facts they learned from the family and the facts they were able to find online and used that information to narrow the scope of their search area. Then they searched the nearby bodies of water using advanced sonar systems. On October 26 at 12:30 p.m., Pope County 911 operators received a long-awaited call. Within an hour of searching, the Adventures with Purpose team had found a car matching the description of Samantha's blue Ford Tempo in Lake Dardanelle near the 37 block of Pleasant View Road. The car was overturned right below the bridge that crosses Lake Dardanelle. The car was removed from the water, and inside they found human remains, as well as a car seat. Samples were sent to the Arkansas State Crime Lab in Little Rock for DNA testing. A spokesperson for the Pope County Sheriff's Department confirmed that Samantha was in the vehicle, though official identification is still pending. At this time, there is no explanation of what may have happened that caused the mother to lose control of the vehicle, though the car will be investigated for any mechanical defects. Police are very confident that the remains will be a match. Investigator Eric Riggs said,
I just don't want to be overconfident, arrogant about it and say, yeah, we know for sure until we know for sure. We do believe we have human remains. We don't know how many. And we do, looks like we have items that are consistent with our case.
A memorial fund has been set up by Desiree to raise donations for her mother and sister's burial. On the page, Desiree shared, after being missing for over 23 years with the assistance of the AWP and Chaos Dive teams, we were able to find my mother, who was 9 months pregnant, and my 22-month-old sister, Courtney. This has been such a relief to have found her, and we want to provide them with a proper burial. If you're ever able to donate or even just pass this along, it would be forever appreciated. As for the Adventures with Purpose team, diver Doug Bishop said that providing the family with answers is all they can hope for.
Words can't really describe what it's like to visibly watch a family's suffering dissipate because they finally have answers. You know, what we provide is never closure for them, but it's answers to trauma that they never had.
On the night of February 24, 2006, 24-year-old Crystal Theobald was driving through her family's neighborhood in Riverside, California, with her brother and boyfriend. Her mother, Belinda Lane, was in a car ahead of them. They were stopped at a stop sign when a white Ford Expedition pulled in front of them and shot at the vehicle before fleeing the scene. Crystal's boyfriend was shot in the stomach and Crystal had been shot in the head. She was taken to the hospital where she died from her injuries 2 days later. Her boyfriend survived. Crystal had been a shining, beautiful, caring young woman, Belinda's only daughter and the youngest of her 4 children. Belinda said, "She was just my pride and joy. I wanted a daughter so bad. I had 3 sons, and so the 4th one I was like, yay, I got my little girl." Crystal was strong, independent, overcoming domestic violence and getting her children out of a bad home situation. Her death had been so traumatic, and no one could believe that she was gone. Crystal's mother, Belinda, was determined to find out who killed her daughter and why, and with few leads from the police, she decided to take it upon herself. "I told her, baby girl, I promise you, if it takes my last breath, I will get them. I promise you, you will have justice," she said. The police investigation was slow. The lead detective had only covered one other homicide investigation, which still remains unsolved. The main evidence from the case were the eyewitnesses, a shoe left behind, and gun casings collected at the crime scene. A canvassing of the neighborhood had yielded few results. With gang violence prevalent in their community, few were willing to step forward. Law enforcement went very aggressively at Belinda and her family. Allegedly, officers arrested one of Belinda's older sons and interrogated him for hours, accusing him of being responsible for the attack from the rival gang that had killed his sister. After that, a line had been drawn in the sand. Belinda and her family refused to cooperate with the detectives. She didn't trust them. She had decided to take matters into her own hands. Belinda knew that if she could figure out who owned the White Ford Expedition, she could find her daughter's killers. She had seen his face very clearly. She described him as very young, with a baby face, and she knew she would be able to identify him if she found him. Crystal's younger brother Nick had heard that members of the local 5150 gang were responsible for Crystal's murder, even though she had no connection to them. The neighborhood had been a rival territory for several gangs operating in the area. It had been prone to violence since 2003, when the newer 5150 gang had been trying to establish turf in the area. The gang had a quick evolution from minor infractions and escalated very quickly to murder. They were known for their propensity for extreme violence, and they were the most feared gang in the area. Nick, only 13, also had heard that they were easy to find on MySpace. He told this to his cousin Jamie, who was 14 years old, who volunteered to help Belinda find the gang members that had killed Crystal. Nick and Jamie were very young, and both said they didn't really understand what gangs were or what kind of people had killed Crystal. They just wanted to help get justice for her murder. MySpace had been the social media platform to be on for young people in the early 2000s. Everyone was on it, and like the Instagrams and Facebooks of today, they had messaging features in addition to the blogging features that were a key part of MySpace's success. Belinda agreed, and Jamie started by creating a profile for Rebecca using a photo of a random woman from the internet, and filled her bio with information that she felt would attract the gang members. She befriended as many of them as she could and started messaging them, successfully gaining personal information. But Belinda didn't think it was enough, so they made a second profile under the name Angel and used pictures of Crystal in an attempt to make them fall in love with her. Catfishing, as it's known today. The bio read, "I'll be your biggest life mistake and your deepest, darkest, best-kept secret." On Angel's profile, the friends requests and messages started pouring in. In April of 2006, they started messaging with 17-year-old William Joke Sotelo, a member of the 5150 gang. Through these messages, they found out that Sotelo was the owner of the White Ford Expedition. Their catfishing had been completely successful. Belinda took the information to the police, who then brought Sotelo in for questioning, where he cooperated and identified Crystal's shooter as 18-year-old Julio Lilhuero Heredia. According to Riverside homicide detective Rick Wheeler, the 5150 members had been driving around the neighborhood that night looking for a rival gang that had shot at them earlier. When Belinda and Crystal stopped, the gang thought they were coming to attack them, so they started shooting. Since there wasn't enough evidence to arrest Sotelo at the time, he was released. Jamie continued to message him on MySpace, and he started to fall for Angel, But pretending to be her dead cousin and making men fall in love with her became too much to bear, and she wanted out. But Belinda wasn't so sure. She was frustrated that Sotelo hadn't been arrested yet and wanted to keep going. She decided she wanted to kill the gang members herself. She took over the profile and even made a plan to murder them until her family convinced her to back off. Instead, Belinda blew her online cover and confronted Sotelo. She knew that he'd fallen for Angel, and she wanted him to hurt as much as she did. So she sent him a final message that read, "If you claim you care about me so much, then why did you kill me?" He never responded, and then he disappeared completely. Belinda gave up and handed over the profile to the investigators. In 2007, the shooter Heredia was charged with Crystal's murder, and in 2011 he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. 10 other gang members involved were charged with additional counts, including witness intimidation, attempted murder, and gun and gang charges, leading to sentences that ranged from probation to 18 years in prison. But Soleto was still nowhere to be found. Then, in 2014, Belinda received a tip through Facebook. Soleto was working as a chili farmer in Mexico and had a wife and 4 children. She sent the tip to the police, and on May 6, 2016, Sotelo was arrested and brought back to California to face his charges. In 2020, he pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 22 years in prison. He was the last person to be arrested and sentenced for Crystal's murder. Riverside Police Lieutenant Christian Dinko said that Belinda was instrumental in identifying Sotelo. He said, "She provided important information that helped lead us to the capture of William Sotelo. Without her help, he would likely still be outstanding right now." The story was made into a Netflix true crime documentary called Why Did You Kill Me?, which premiered in 2021. Director and producer Frederick Monk said, "We knew that we had an incredible hook, which is kind of the MySpace catfishing angle. But kind of equally important was also this idea that it might be a story that begins in some ways as conventional true crime story, and that hopefully ultimately asks broader questions about the criminal justice system, about empathy, about how one deals with grief, and also how this single event might reverberate throughout an entire community." Belinda said that she can finally forgive the people responsible for killing her daughter now that they've been brought to justice. Today, she runs a Facebook group in memory of her daughter called Unsolved Murders in Riverside, where she shares information in hopes of solving other cold cases in the area. Erin Foster and Jeremy Bechtel disappeared on April 3, 2000, in Sparta, Tennessee. That night, Erin, 18, and Jeremy, 17, picked up Erin's brother from an arcade in Erin's 1988 Pontiac Grand Am and drove him home before heading out to a party in a rural part of town. Around 9 p.m., Jeremy called his dad, Ronnie Bechtel, to arrange a ride for the next day, but when Ronnie showed up, Jeremy was nowhere to be found. Both of their parents became suspicious when neither Erin nor Jeremy returned home, but they thought they'd give them a few days. When days passed without any sign of either teenager, Erin's family reported them missing. Rumors started running rampant in their small town. People crafted wild theories about where the missing teens had gone. Some said they ran away, while others speculated murder or a drug operation gone wrong. These rumors were just that, rumors. Still, they gained the attention of the local police, who spent time investigating leads that went nowhere, derailing the investigation and frustrating the victim's family and friends. Sheriff Steve Page of White County and the victim's family both agreed that law enforcement at the time didn't handle the case well. They never searched Erin or Jeremy's rooms for clues or evidence, nor did they question their friends from the party. Then, more than 20 years later, Jeremy's side stepped in. Jeremy runs a YouTube channel called Exploring with Nug, where he documents his river treasure hunting adventures. He started playing around with metal detectors as a hobby, which turned into him finding many lost and stolen items. He then leveled up his skills by learning to scuba dive and started searching for cars, then missing people in the water. He found his targets by scouring the Charlie Project website, which is a database of missing persons cases. He'd look for unusual cases involving people that had seemingly vanished in thin air, just like Erin and Jeremy did.
This is Exploring with the Nug. My name is Jeremy, and today we are back in Sparta, Tennessee to continue the search for the two missing teenagers that vanished over 20 years ago.
In late 2021, he came across their case and headed over to Sparta to start his search. In November, he posted a video of his first search in the area, where he found a car, but it wasn't Erin's Pontiac. The video was then seen by the sheriff, who noticed Jeremy was using side-scan sonar to search the water, technology that wasn't available to their police department. He reached out to Jeremy to join forces and suggested searching the Calfkiller River, which runs along Highway 84. A police report that had been misfiled but recently found suggested Erin and Jeremy may have driven down that road on the night they went missing. And so Jeremy went out on his boat and scanned the river, where he spotted another car. In the chilling footage captured by Jeremy, you can see the car come into view as he dives deeper into the murky waters. He swims to the back of the car, cleaning off the make and model to reveal it's a Pontiac. He then wipes off the license plate to confirm his suspicion. It is indeed Erin Foster's car.
473 EJR. It's them. They're coming home. They're coming home.
I'm lost. I'm lost for words. I'm so glad I could find them. I'm so sad that that's where they ended up. And I can't believe it's been over 20 years they've been sitting there waiting for someone to find them, and I'm glad I did. I don't know. It's a weird mix of emotions. I can't even explain it. And but you know what? This isn't about me. This is about getting them home, and we're gonna do that today. So let's start making phone calls. Let's get people down here. Let's get them out of the water. It's time.
After notifying the sheriff's office of his discovery, the car was extracted from the water and human remains were found inside. Though the remains have not yet been positively identified, Sheriff Page believes they belong to Erin and Jeremy. Investigators suspect the teenagers lost control of the car and went into the water, as there was no guardrail along the road in 2000. Finding the answers to this decades-long mystery brought about mixed feelings for the victims' families. "It's like losing him all over again," said Jeremy's father. "It just shattered my heart again. We always kind of thought through the years that something happened, but I just didn't know what." GoFundMe pages have been set up in Jeremy Bechel's and Erin Foster's names to help cover funeral costs. Well, that is it for this video. Please let me know if you want me to cover more cases like this. And as always, please give this video a thumbs up if you like the content, and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I post. And if you've done all that and want to support me in the channel, we have channel membership as well as Patreon to get early access, members-only content, live streams, and more. We also have merch and other goodies in the description box, as well as links to all my socials. But until then, I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.